Hey there, my name is Elora and this is my history and how everything in my ever-expanding adventures continue to influence who I am and my cultural identity. So my mother is your stereotypical New York born and raised Jewish woman who just so happened to marry a Southern man from Virginia who as well was born and raised in the South, and they happened to give birth to me in Arizona. And all of this additionally plunged me into the world's most confusing cultural journey in existence. Growing up, I was raised in both Judaism and Christianity, so I would spend my Sundays first going to Hebrew school and then going to church, and then on Wednesdays I was part of the youth group at church, and this did give me a good grasp on different religions. But I will say throughout my life we moved, and doing that I was introduced to different versions of those religions in every area that we moved. So while it was the same religion and the same basic principles, it was always taught through somebody else's eyes. I still find it funny today how both of those religions have the same core values to be kind to one another, live an honest and healthy life, give back to your community, all of those sorts of things. As I said before, I have moved around quite a bit, and I started that in Arizona, and from there we moved to a tiny little island off the Unalaska Islands in Alaska. While we were there, I got to see how the natives lived off the land and used whale blubber for oil and food, and how everybody would surround each other in farmers markets with food and, you know, all these different art and crafts and artifacts, and just really got immersed in the culture that is Alaska. And I moved there again when I was older for my current position as a flight attendant and got to experience it all over again. The people of Alaska are always looking for a way to help a community, and I think that was something that had been instilled in me from when I was so young that I just kind of grasped onto it and didn't let go. From there we did move to Washington State and then to Georgia, which, talk about a culture shock. I went from the ultimate, unfortunately whitewashed northern side of the US to the very deep dirty South where nobody looked like me. My first day in school, I remember being incredibly nervous because I not only was the northerner that all of the movies depict, but I was the new girl and I didn't know what I was walking into. I very quickly learned that the only difference was the color of our skin, and that's something that as a kid you just, you don't really realize that you're learning this. And my yes please and no thank yous quickly turned into yes sirs and no ma'am, and even now you'll hear my accent every now and then. I was brought into a community that was so full of love and making sure that your neighbor was taken care of. It became my home for over a decade. I was brought into some of the best food I've ever had, from Georgia to Mississippi to Alabama to Louisiana, and sweet tea and gumbo became my blood, while hearty conversations with neighbors and family became my soul. After my time in the South, I did a jump back to Arizona and then to Hawaii, where I again saw so much different culture as far as their love of nature. Things move a little bit slower, and the people there again were so much like everybody else I had met in my life before, caring, loving, inviting, etc., etc. Nowadays I reside in San Diego, where the weather is so nice we like to refer to it as a sunshine tax to make ourselves feel better about how much we do spend here. But when it comes straight down to it, I have experienced so many different cultures and so many different environments that I feel it could best be described as one simple word, and that word would be American. I'm an Arizona-born, religiously open Southern belle who values family, community, and some really fantastic food.